This week on the Runback, Apple finally reveals the Apple Vision Pro and tech media is divided. Meta's gaming showcase offers the Quest 3 and a clearer roadmap for 2023. Highlights from the Augmented World Expo shows that there are more players than just Apple and Meta. And finally, impressions on No More Rainbows, Battle Talent Combat Simulator, and Budget Cuts Ultimate. The XR landscape just changed forever. The future of AR and VR begins right now. You know, I've rewritten this episode probably like 5 times. What I've settled on is a bit of it's a rant. Apple just announced their Apple Vision Pro, or AVP, and the price, if you haven't heard, is a show-stopping $3,500. Starting.
Apple Vision Pro starts at $3,500. It will be available early next year on Apple.com and at Apple retail stores in the US.
Still no clarity on what the price tiers look like, but this AVP is being called a rich man's toy. It's called a prototype aimed at developers. Most kindly, it's a magical device in search of a purpose. I'm calling it the most amazing mixed reality technology I've ever seen. Frankly, I've never wanted a piece of tech as much as I want the Vision Pro right now. Now, society maybe has never needed a piece of tech less than the Vision Pro right now.
Apple's mixed reality headset called Vision Pro will crash and burn. It's a severe miscalculation that's learned absolutely nothing from Meta Quest Pro. Trying to rebrand mixed reality as spatial computing is so Apple reality bubble that it's laughable. There are major problems with their entire approach.
As a productivity device, it's all I've ever wanted. Most people who have had hands-on time with it have been wowed by how much more advanced it is than even the nearest competition. One thing I have to make super clear is that 95% of what Apple showed off is totally doable with the handful of existing devices available on the market right now. You want to look at a projected screen from a device like your laptop or a Steam Deck? Xreal Air already does this for like $400 too. You want to pull digital images into your real world space? That's AR, augmented reality, and that's available right now on the Quest 2 and Meta Quest Pro. And a recent video from Meta shows that the video quality will be even better on the upcoming Meta Quest 3. That launches later this year. That's also just $500. And you get to play fully immersive virtual reality games as well as augmented reality. Not to mention, if you have a PC, you can use that headset with your existing PC system. Okay, so you want hands-free tracking like they showed in the video. You can get that also on the Meta Quest. They've been improving their hand tracking steadily for the past few years. You can go hands-free to do productivity right now on your Quest with Meta's own Workroom app or by using the excellent app called Immersed. And with Immersed, I can bring in my Apple laptop and keyboard and plug away, ready to go. Apple showed off Zoom calls where you can interact with your colleagues and utilize your avatar in that space. Yeah, once again, MetaQuest, it's already here. The avatars might look cartoony while Apple goes for that super realistic look, but the functionality is there. That cool dinosaur demo? Yeah, Meta Quest 3. Meta just showed that. Black games projected and multi-screen, pick your poison. Check, it's all there. So if I had that kind of money, why would I drop $3,500 on a device that, for the most part, isn't bringing anything new to the table? I wouldn't hesitate to get the Apple Vision Pro. Because even though Meta and various other companies do all of those things, existing tech can do it already in a tremendously inferior way. Apple wasn't showing magical tech. They were showing polished, focused tech. If you're looking for the experience that Apple offered, the experience that Meta could potentially come close to, if you're just tired of how Meta has handled that side of VR or AR, then the price that Apple is asking for doesn't sound quite as bad. The whole "it just works" thing sounds pretty good, actually. I don't think it's going to stay at $3,500. The market that Meta and Apple wants isn't the gamer. It's not the enthusiast. It's not me. It's the mom and pop who wants to use VR as an extension of how they work or how they relax. Now, I'm a gamer, but that person they're chasing, that casual, that's also me too. I want to use a device in that way. Now, if you think about it, this isn't an iPhone replacement. I don't know why the media keeps saying that. It's an iPad replacement. Just like the iPad, it's a cool device that you have to put in an effort to use or want to use. It's not a natural fit for anything. It's not a laptop and it's not a phone. It's stuck in some weird limbo, and I've been trying to make the laptop do in VR exactly what Apple is effectively executing with the Apple Vision Pro. It's blending worlds and making it work. Apple sells polish. The Apple Vision Pro is a consumption and work device that should be a tool, and that's a tool to be put away. I mean, even in the promotional videos, why are people even wearing this device casually? Why is the woman on the phone just talking and packing away luggage? You're not going to put this on without a specific need to do so. No tech company is going to convince me or anyone else otherwise. I mean, even in shades, why just wear these around the house? Put simply, you won't. Just like I don't just pull out my iPad. I don't need it with me at all times. My phone, yeah, absolutely. But that's not necessarily a bad thing to think about the headset in that way. The AVP isn't a shareable experience, and it won't ever be. I certainly don't want to live in a world where everyone in the family is wearing one of these things, doing their own thing. That's like a worse version of what we have right now. Every member of the family existing in the same room but watching their own devices. Together, but alone. That's horrible. That sucks, and I don't want that. Even if the form factor dropped all the way down to a pair of the sleekest shades, the nature of interaction with this product is isolation, not inclusion. And that's unsustainable on a personal and societal level. Not to get too preachy or heady, but once we accept and understand that, it'll be easier to reposition what this device is or where any of this is going. I need this as a tool for right now. I've been wanting this device as is, as presented, for years. Apple finally made it. Give me the Apple Vision Pro for my consumption and work. Give me a MetaQuest 3 for gaming. That's a killer combo, and I'd love to see it, especially if Apple gets that price down. Even the relationships Apple forges are ones of trust, that they put out consistent quality product. Companies believe that. Companies want to work with Apple. Meta, on the other hand, hasn't even been able to secure the relationships necessary to make co-op movie watching a thing on the Quest. Large-scale businesses partnering with Meta like Disney is doing with Apple right now? I don't think so. Meta just hasn't earned that level of trust. They haven't built those relationships. One thing Meta got right though, right out of the gate, is a need for a social metaverse. I know that's not popular to say, nobody wants to hear that, but it's true. We're going to need a social metaverse if we're committed to staying on this path. It doesn't have to be Ready Player One, but it needs to be a space of congregation and inclusion. There has to be a virtual space for people to interact without the boundaries of distance or physical ability. Because if you're going to put on this headset, it's anything more than just an accessory. There has to be a way to reach out and make a human connection. Now, Apple doesn't seem to have any interest in that right now. Their walled garden extends to how we engage in this new frontier. Maybe one day after the entertainment and telecom companies subsidize the cost, locking you into a streaming service of some sort. I think that's when Apple Vision Pro comes down to prices that mom and pop can afford. Well, maybe now is a great time to consider the MetaQuest 3. It's such a jumbled mishmash of ideas and implementations pasted together with billions of dollars, but it works. Clumsily, but it works. You can hold the future in your hands right now, and you won't have to sell a kidney to do it. The Meta Gaming Showcase, I loved it. The Quest is really coming into its own as a fantastic standalone gaming device. It's honestly the main thing I play anymore. My Xbox Series S only gets activated for Elden Ring and Street Fighter 6. Actually, a lot of Street Fighter 6. These are some of the highlights from the showcase, at least for me. Demio Battles. PvP Demio as a separate game? Oh yeah, Demio has given its audience so much in the base game that the price is completely justified. Demio is easily up there as one of the must-own experiences on Quest. The idea of battling my characters against other players is like Hearthstone or any other great CCG, but now in VR. Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampire. Not much was shown about the game, but I can make a few assumptions. Probably lots of atmospheric exploration culminating in vampire slaying. Lots of stealth, which is likely super important. If the vampire gets free, it's probably too OP for a straight up battle, so sneaking and planning is the name of the game. Again, I'm just guessing, but from Shell Games, is going to be polished. Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord. Based on the after showcase conversation, planning and teamwork is everything here, which means this game is already speaking my language. I'm thinking it's like a Left 4 Dead but an extraction game with the Ghostbusters IP. That sounds fantastic. Underdogs is all style for me. I'm loving the flavor. The art reminds me of that amazing Riot series Arcane on Netflix, and the flavor takes me back to Riggs on PSVR 1 with a UK grime sound poured all over it. I like to say that I'm over arena wave-based games, but this one looks, and most importantly, sounds pretty special. At least I hope it is. NFL Pro Era is one of the few great sports games on the Quest. Official licenses and actually pretty solid gameplay. Its only deficiencies were online play and any type of defense mode. Well, okay, the defense mode still isn't here yet, but we've got online play and an upcoming DLC. This got me way more hyped than I expected. NFL Pro Era is almost great and it's pretty much Madden in VR. Racket Club solves the problem I've had with tennis in VR from the beginning. The physics are here, but you need actual space. Every tennis game I've tried suffers from the same problem. To play them well, you need room to move around. Otherwise, it's just weird ping pong. Racket Club brilliantly works around this. Tennis out, pickleball in. By shrinking the size of the court, you get all of the thrills and exercise of tennis with the appropriate amount of room for VR. I'm pretty excited for Racket Club. This feels like a natural fit for VR, and especially for the MetaQuest. Dungeons of Eternity from Othergate is probably my second most anticipated game on the platform. It's up there, it's right up there with Asgard's Wrath, a multiplayer, real-time dungeon crawler RPG roguelike with fantastic art. Is pretty much my nirvana. This was a legit surprise and would have easily been my game of the show if it wasn't for Asgard's Wrath 2. This is a day one purchase for me. There simply aren't enough high quality multiplayer fantasy experiences on the Quest. This one looks perfect. What a smart choice for retro games to go back and give some VR polish. The original Bulletstorm was already a tremendously action-packed first-person shooter. Going back to turn this retro game up to 11 to take advantage of modern hardware is as smart as porting Resident Evil 4. What a fantastic surprise, and this might be the other big single-player game to beat this year. Finally, Asgard's Wrath 2 was a complete package. I have zero experience with PC VR or Asgard's Wrath 1, but this game is commanding a $59.99 price tag, which is the highest priced game on Quest by far. That's the same as a full AAA game that you'll find on any traditional console. But in its defense, this game looks incredible. It promises a 60-hour experience, it's a full action RPG story, and has Diablo-like side content with asynchronous multiplayer and global leaderboards. Graphically, it's pushing the Quest to its limit. And this is the type of open world AAA experience that Quest users have been begging for years. They can stop begging now, it's here. It's hard to believe that this entire game runs on a mobile chipset. This is like bringing Skyrim to the Quest. A full world, lots of locations, enemies, evolving combat. This really is the complete package. This changes everything about what to expect from gaming on the Quest going forward. We didn't get the rumored GTA San Andreas, but Meta came strong with so much more. Gaming in 2023 looks incredible in VR for standalone Quest users. No matter what hardware comes out in the future, Meta's standing as a VR gaming platform is unrivaled. I spent 3 days in Silicon Valley at the Augmented World Expo, checking out the most revolutionary tech I've ever seen. Actual holograms, VR simulators, insane sensory devices. All was a playground of the most outlandish and innovative tech that's not from some far distant future. This is all stuff that you can get your hands on right now. It's overwhelming, trust me. But here are the things that I specifically went to the show to see. One of the areas that I was curious about was productivity. In light of the Apple Vision Pro, how does this tech impact the average person? Since the Quest Pro launched, I've been in some touchy conversations with Miss Futuristic. Now, she comes from the office world, and I wondered, how might VR or AR tech change how she works? Or maybe where she works? Her take? Not much. Nobody wants to wear bulky headsets or fiddle with software to do the same Excel spreadsheets and Word documents we've been doing successfully for years. Now, Apple has one solution, but much of the enterprise world operates on Windows and Android or Chrome. There are people and corporations that have zero interest in an all-Apple ecosystem. So, Sightful's Spacetop laptop solves all of those problems in a remarkably affordable package.
The Spacetop is designed specifically to merge the worlds of the traditional laptop and the world of augmented reality. Fundamentally, what the Spacetop does is provides you a 100-inch canvas that lets you recreate your perfect setup that you have at your home, where you've got multi-monitors, you got everything just the way you want it. On a laptop, you can't recreate that. You're sort of forced to keep tabbing between applications. You're limited in screen real estate.
Meta talks a lot of game about the virtual office or the infinite office. But Seifel teamed up with Xreal, yes, Xreal, the folks behind the Xreal Air, to create a customized experience built around the user to get work right.
The form factor has a full productivity keyboard and high quality glass touchpad, and you can drag and drop applications in Windows just the way you would normally. But you get the benefit of being able to set your Google Calendar here and your email here and a Word document that you want to be in portrait mode and have, be able to see the whole document all at once. Have a spreadsheet, you want it to spread, you want it to be horizontal, not vertical. You have all of this sort of magical real estate available to you to do all the things you want with your applications and have everything just set up the way you want it. Augmented reality has this incredible ability to paint information on the world around us, but it's lacking a daily use case. We wanted to create Spacetop to act as a bridge between those worlds.
And speaking of Xreal, I own one of those glasses. They're great. And when you want a big screen like what Apple showed in their presentation, there's already a player in the space doing it really well. They make normal looking glasses with the best projected screen in its class. Now, my problem was always that I'm an Apple user with a Nintendo Switch. In order to take full advantage of the Xreal glasses, I've needed to carry these goofy adapters that have always been more trouble than they're worth. And using the glasses with the Switch obliterates its portability. Because of how the Switch USB-C out works, you can't go directly from the hardware into the glasses. You previously needed the Switch TV unit, and you plug in an HDMI cable, and you essentially end up with a big screen stationary TV. Not exactly ideal. It doesn't work like the Steam Deck. The new Xreal Beam changes all of that. With this little device, you can plug the glasses into pretty much anything with the video out. Slip this thing in your pocket and you're mobile everywhere.
So what we have here is our Xreal Air glasses and also our new Xreal Beam. So the idea is we actually came up with the glasses first, and you can directly connect the glasses with some of the devices if the device has USB-C DisplayPort output, but not a whole lot of devices support that. So we came up with Beam, which essentially solves the compatibility problem. You can connect the glasses with Beam and then beam to whatever device you have, your smartphone, your laptop, gaming console, whatever. And the connection between Beam and your device can be wired or wireless. We also have our spatial computing algorithms, our software running on Beam. So with Beam, you can actually get different display modes. We have body anchor, which is 3-off. We have smooth follow, which is great for transportation. We also have side view, which is great for if you need to move around a little bit because it's a side screen, it's a small one, so it doesn't obstruct your entire field of view. With Beam, all the processing, our software is running on Beam. Your phone, your laptop is just streaming the content to Beam and then to the glasses.
And about the future of streaming content like Amazon Prime or Netflix or even Xbox Game Pass?
It's work in progress. We don't have it available right now. It's not here for demo, but yeah, it's definitely something we want to offer to our consumers in the future.
All over the convention, everybody's doing VR glasses. They all start to run together. But one company, Vuzix, caught my eye with something completely different.
The Vuzix products, it's form, fit, and function. And it's a standalone device. You don't have to connect it to a phone or a computer. So this is it. You put these on, you walk around, you get the information that you need. And then we've got the latest and greatest, the Vuzix Shield, which uses micro LED technology. There are no other smart glasses, dual display, micro LEDs. So as you're talking in a conversation, it hears certain words and phrases, it will pick and choose, so it has AI built into it, and it will share that information, it will show it in the glasses.
So let's move away from glasses and HMDs for a moment. One sensory engagement that goes hand in hand with the technology of what we see is the tech of what we feel. Through combinations of clever engineering, the feeling of touch can be simulated in VR. Being able to feel things within a digital space is the Wild West. It's uncharted territory. Beat Haptics is one of the industry leaders, but a smaller, plucky company has decided to trade external wires for small charges of electric shock weave seamlessly beneath the fabric of special material.
OWO is a haptic system. Unlike traditional haptics, we don't vibrate. We transmit electrical pulses, and this basically means that we create different physical sensations. For example, a punch stimulates the whole muscle, a dart's precise. You can also feel depth. For example, with a dagger wound, you can feel the entry and the movement inside your stomach, and you actually fall down. And we've also got sensations like the wind, the rain, a hug, a bit of everything.
HoloKit was probably the most accessible tech I saw on the show floor. Now, designed for Apple devices currently, HoloKit wants to bring AR to everybody. It's completely open source and only requires your phone and the HoloKit accessory. For a little under $130, the Toolkit add-on is durable and made for getting dirty playing with augmented reality.
As you can see, this is an AR headset, and I think for most people, whether you're a developer or a consumer, when you hear AR headset, you're really thinking of like, oh, you know, Microsoft has one of these, Google Daydream has one of these, but really we're looking at like a $5,000 price point there, and our objection is to people paying an arm and a leg for an AR experience. We really think that we should be democratizing the AR space, and that's kind of where our story comes from. So we really wanted to look for the most ways to make AR accessible, because we think AR doesn't have a future unless we can actually focus on getting the headsets onto people's heads rather than fancy features or more updates. We need to focus on accessibility. So we've tried to ask ourselves, how can we make AR as simple as possible? And the answer we found was the HoloKit. This is an extremely light, compact device, and I'm able to shake it like this because there's actually no technology inside. We want all of the AR magic to be happening from one source, and that source is your phone. So the HoloKit has 60-degree round vision, and it basically uses mirror optics to mirror the screens of the Apple phone. We wanted to take advantage of the most high-quality OLED resolution. We also have created our own interface, and it is this app that is also called HoloKit, free on all the App Store. Because this HoloKit uses mirror optics, it's able to capture the background in balance, so you will never get dizzy, and you can wear this with longevity. Additionally, with the app, you do not need Wi-Fi, you don't need cell data. We've tested HoloKits 4,000 feet in the mountains before, as well as on the streets of New York, and you can really add up to infinite any people, and you can just connect using short local network, and that way you can interact, play against each other, cooperate, and also do solo missions. We really wanted to highlight this game aspect because we think that this is going to be the best way for people to enjoy AR and actually be able to learn about what the products can offer.
Download Apple's free AR kit, grab a HoloKit, and get a jump on the Apple Augmented Future right now. The wizard game you see here is totally free, and the more people that get their hands on the device, the more apps and experiences we'll see. All right, those were my standouts of the show. I didn't get to go nearly as hands-on as I'd have liked. There was just so much cool stuff there, and I could only appreciate it in passing. I was in arm's reach of touching all of this stuff. But duty calls. One day, maybe. One day. Finally, so many games came out on the 1st while I was away. I'm still catching up on them, but what I have been able to play has been surprisingly great. Full disclaimer, all games were provided by the publishers or their PR companies. Now, that doesn't influence my opinion at all, but I still gotta let you know. Battle Talent Simulator has been around on the App Lab for a very long time. It's actually one of the oldest games I remember downloading when the App Lab first started. Back then, it was cool in a blade and sorcery gore sim kind of way. Now, if you're into that, I assume that's all this was. But after hands-on with the final version, I was so wrong. The combat is really, really good. Yes, you're still in small, wave-based battle arenas, but the physics engine doesn't feel nearly as ragdoll-y as similar games. Also, it's fantasy-based. That already gives it a huge advantage in my book. In Battle Talent, the combat isn't about gore or violence. I mean, by nature, yes, combat violence is there, but the game isn't about being brutal as much as it's about trying to figure out how to survive increasingly difficult situations against AI that's surprisingly fun to play against. Trolls and orcs, they leap, they dodge, they encircle you. They strike with both long and short range weapons, and they're armored. They use tactics. They throw knives to which you can block or use the environment to fight back when you're empty-handed. I really can't stress this enough. it doesn't feel like the other ragdoll sims. This game is fun, and it encourages you to make natural combos when you're fighting enemies. The fact that you're thinking about attack combos at all is a testament to how the devs approached fighting here. The game has a full dungeon crawler mode, giving a taste of what a single player campaign might be like. The dev hasn't stated if they're adding more to the game in the future, but I'm loving that despite being an arena game, it feels like there's a campaign here. The enemies are varied and very cool. I'm pretty excited to dive back into it, and for $19.99, it's a very fair price. The closest comparison I can make to this is Sword of Gargantua, but this feels way better. There's no co-op or campaign yet, but I wouldn't put it past this developer who has been tweaking and improving this game for over a year before its official release. Like other similar games that took a long time to incubate, Battle Talent is one of the few mandatory experiences that I suggest on the Quest. So far, I'm really impressed by it. No more rainbows. Videos I've seen hint at a pretty meaty game, but be warned, nobody told me, so I'm telling you, the entire game, I mean the whole game, the whole locomotion system requires that you move your arms to propel yourself. Jumping requires big arm swings, repeatedly thrusting your arms down to leap and jump upon ledges. Lightly swinging your arms in the desired directions turns you around. That's how you pivot and turn. This game is fully committed to a complete interactive experience. There is no way you're going to be able to sit in your chair and swing your arms. You absolutely have to stand up. The game won't even register the movements otherwise. So, in all fairness, I can't give a true impression of this game. It's way more of a workout than I planned for. You literally cannot turn without moving your arms. There are zilch, no joystick control options that I saw in the menu. I played this game twice, making it about as far as my arms would endure, which wasn't further than a couple of levels into the game. It's pretty, it's probably amazing, but it is absolutely a workout. If you're thinking that you're going into a casual VR platformer, think again. If this combination of physical movement and genuine exploration is your thing, and in the first hour I played, I was surprised by the amount of actual exploration you're doing. You find these cute creatures and you destroy them. You're the monster. There's a real game here, but progressing through it at all is very much earned. Finally, Budget Cuts Ultimate is a game that a good friend of mine has been telling me to try since way back when I had the Quest 1. Now, it was never ported to that platform, but it was kind of a big deal on PC around the time of Job Simulator in that era. There was a PSVR 1 release of the first game that I never played. And now, finally, on the Quest 2, Budget Cuts Ultimate combines the first game and its sequel brought to the Meta platform. The setup goes, you're a robot that works in an office with other robots. You do the mundane tasks of stamping leave approvals for humans, and your robot life seems pretty ordinary. But for whatever reason, a mysterious voice contacts you like Morpheus from the Matrix, telling you to get out of there if you want to live. And you do. Avoiding the new security robots, you spend your time peeking within rooms and teleporting, utilizing this game's version of a portal gun. You're jumping quickly to line-of-sight areas, unraveling the mystery of the game's, well, pretty much non-existent plot. Now, at first blush, I struggled because the game doesn't really communicate what to do effectively. A lot of the interface comes from design techniques of an earlier time when VR devs were still trying to figure things out. For example, switching between weapons is awkward. Equipping weapons and items seems counterintuitive, and canceling an action isn't immediately obvious. Many of the game's interface designs feel old, and if these choices were made today, it would likely be more automated. Look, I'm not going to clutter this impression with minor concerns about the experience. Suffice to say, there's a learning curve. It took me a while to get used to some of the game's choices. Being trapped within an office cubicle early in the game, despite the fact that you know you can move, was a design choice created to get you to do a specific action to progress. Stuff like that. You're just stuck for no good reason, and it takes you a while to realize why you're stuck. But beyond that learning curve is a game that I got seriously addicted to. This is essentially a stealth action game, Metal Gear with humorous robots. The offices of this fictional corporation are huge, and you scuttle from floor to floor doing missions that require you to look for clues or retrieve items to progress the narrative. But avoiding the hyper-aggressive security robots is the real challenge. Maybe it's me and I'm making this game harder than it needs to be. I tossed between enjoyment and frustration during parts where I'm basically spotted by robots and could have easily avoided them with just the ability to duck. In fact, the game says that you can duck. The game's options mention auto ducking, and parts of the game, like early ventilation tunnels, say ducking only. So yeah, manual ducking has to be in the game, right? But I could never figure it out. There was a part early in the game where I was stuck because I couldn't figure out how to operate an elevator. Now, it wasn't immediately clear that the buttons could be interacted with, nor that the engagement window was so small as to be easily missed. Pressing things requires precise pointing, not a lot of wiggle room. So, like I said, the game doesn't do a great job communicating. But despite the vagueness of the interactions, when you get into the game, it's very engrossing. The designs of everything is very clean. Again, the concept is simple, but the game is remarkably fun. I can see why it's considered a VR classic on PC. Now, it's a little pricier than I'd like to pay at $29.99. $19.99 seems like the magic spot for me for games like this, but again, that's all subjective. I don't determine prices, I just tell you what I would probably pay for it. It's a fun game that I'm hoping I'm just making mistakes through user error and not through fault of the game design. I have a nagging feeling though, it's the game design. Still, I'll very likely continue playing this. The core game has a hold of me. And that's it. That's everything. Okay, open the floodgates. You know I'm gonna ask, what do you think of the Apple Vision Pro versus the MetaQuest 3? I think I was pretty fair in my assessment of both devices. I'm still excited about VR and AR, but I'm sure that everybody isn't as enthusiastic as I am about the Apple Vision Pro. Or maybe you are and you're done with Meta and have no interest in the Quest 3. The Quest 3 looks really great and at a much more affordable price. I certainly want one, but I want to hear what you think. Did you see anything cool from the show that you want? Tell me in the comments. Until then, I'll see you all in the future. Show out. I'm going to sleep.